everyone, and welcome back. Today we're just going to be playing some mono black mid-range where we're playing a lot of removal spells, and we're playing the combo with Slasher, Bloodletter, and the kind of Unholy Annex to help support the entire game plan, giving us extra cards every turn. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and dive into the games. I don't have a whole lot of time to do intros and outros right now, just because the Apex Con is here. The set has rotated. My work is picked up. Apparently now my company's working for Gen Con at the Ultimate Guard booth, which wasn't a thing, but now it's a thing. So I got really busy incredibly fast, and it's made it very hard to record the content because I kind of have to do the job that pays the bills first, you know? But with that said, let's go ahead and dive into the games. I hope you all enjoy them. All right, we get there. Infect, interesting. Pop this. Fable Passage does nothing here. This also could just not be Infect. It could just be, what do I want to say? Could just be the blue-black poison control, which I guess is technically Infect. Yeah, all right. So it is. We need to make sure they can't necessarily. So, oh man, it's gonna be hard. Each opponent gets a poison counter, draw a card, bounce it, then proliferate. Yeah, so I want to take this. It'll be tough because I kind of want to get the Slasher down. Unholy Annex isn't necessarily going to start anything crazy if they only have the sacrifice stuff, but they could also Serum Snare it, which sucks, right? Again, they could also do that to my Deep Cavern Bat, but then they don't really accomplish anything. I only have permanent for 2 mana. Just seems a little bit egregious to me. Combat. Attack. Sure. I think. Let's just play Slasher. I'll duress them, then Unholy Annex after, and then we'll look to get our last card. They can, of course, bounce this. They can make us sack it. He's probably sacrifice a creature, which doesn't do much. We just got one Anoint out of their kind of deck. An Anoint with Affliction, which is great. They hit a land, which obviously isn't awesome for us, but, you know, is what it is. They could... Yeah, they're going to do this, and then they're going to bounce this to do double poison here, I think. Which is, like, kind of fine. It's, like, not great, but, you know. The rest of them. Sure, creature we don't really care about at this point. This card I also don't really care about. I do think I care about the extra draw more than anything. And I think I'm here to... Do I want to outvalue them? Or do I want to play a Slasher and kind of force them into a play? And I think that's what I want to do. They could technically play both the cards in their hand, and especially if they play a land and we have max information, obviously. They Anoint. They rip probably the best card they could have in a spot like that. Sure. Bloodletter. Pretty good card. We Annex here. And then I just... They could rip the counter spell, which I guess if they use the counter spell, then sure. You know? Kind of one of those things. Just means like this resolves, right? So it's not the end of the world. Do I play Bloodletter or do I just make my token? I guess I play Bloodletter, right? Because it's not necessarily super counterable. I can't remember if it's 2 or permanently a counter. I don't know. It's been so long since I've had to play against this deck. Counter unless you pay 2. Obviously they're going to barrel this, but that's okay. Weirdly enough, the 6/6 can close the game much faster than my Bloodletter can. In a way. Only drawing land 2 is going to be brutal. We do need something, which, I mean, obviously is going to be rotating, but we do need to find, like, a Lily or something that we can kind of destroy their hand, especially with how many lands we have. Just really put them in a top deck mode. We're at 4. Criminal Auguries, a card... Deep Cavern Bat's a card of choice here. We'll do Deep Cavern Bat first. We'll see if they interact. Did you just play a ton of removal? Well, sure. I mean, this grabs the land and puts a poison counter on us. Or we get the card that they grab, so it's kind of... It's weird, right? Because maybe this is a card you do let go, because that's a card that you wouldn't mind getting back later by removing the Deep Cavern Bat. Where here, you just lose your removal spell. Unlock. Now the game can hopefully start swinging. If I could stop drawing lands, that would be pretty cool. My opponent could draw lands. That'd be pretty dope. Cavern Bat. Maybe one of the least most impactful cards. And that's a land, which is fine, really. If they just want to hold that and try to bait out duresses and stuff, I'm okay with that as well. Shoot the Sheriff is a pretty good card to pick up. Deadly Cover-Up's a card that they could find. Experimental Augury number 3. This can kind of survive another cycle. That would be huge. Now they can play land, pick up a Deep Cavern Bat, and remove my bigger creature. 1 mana draw 2. That will get a lot better. Another Unholy Annex would also be good, because then we can level this up and do the other side as well. Land finally comes down. They have 3 mana. Again, a cut down on Deep Cavern Bat. Drowned. And then an Anoint could happen. This puts me at 7. Shoot the Sheriff is probably a dead card anyway. So why not do this? We counter this, it stops the Proliferate from happening. Especially with my land draws. And then this should be lethal. I thought maybe they would have something, but they don't. Wow. Alright, well, we have 11 lands. So that's pretty dope. Coming away with the win there is pretty nice. Especially with kind of how that game was turning out at the end. But either way, we get the dub and we move on. Go first, we have pretty much the same exact hand in a way as the game before. Just a little bit different. So pretty okay. Pretty okay with it. What's our opponent on? My luck is blue-white control. Yeah, who would have thought? Not me, says I. Alright, well, it's not blue-white control, so I definitely feel like a little bit better. This sucks, obviously, for us. They left a card on top, so I want to make getting this as hard as possible, I think. But also, if I take the Chart, of course, I don't have a way to discard until the Kiora. But I think I just take the Helping Hand and make it as awful as possible. And then with the Soul Partition, I make it also really weird. Because obviously, to some extent, they want to do the Deep Cavern Bat. But I think here, I'm just going to play this Annex, get my extra card draw while I can. And then hit. And then the Soul Partition is going to be a little bit stressed about what it wants to do. Because you either want to get your Helping Hand back or the Annex. And to be quite honest, if they Soul Partition this, they obviously can't reanimate because there would be no card in the graveyard. Most likely, I feel like a Kiora is happening. It's a 3/2, so I can cut down it, and then I can look to Deep Cavern Bat, isolating the Soul Partition if that's what it comes to. Or we just hold the removal, let them use the Helping Hand. Yeah, see, that's exactly what I was talking about. We stress the Annex more than anything. Now Deep Cavern Bat comes back down again, and then a Moment of Truth times 2. So I think I take... My only action in hand is removal, so not taking Kiora seems to some extent like a mistake. But it doesn't at the same time. Chart, of course, is the worst value card overall, but taking one of the Moments of Truth seems just weird. I guess, like... Kiora is not even the most mana efficient. It's like either of these. I guess I just take a Charter or not a Charter Course, a Moment here. Because the thing with Kiora is I actually get value off my turn if they play it, and then I remove it, right? So there's that option. Whereas if I just hold these removal spells, they do nothing against Charter Course or Moment. Charter Course comes down. I do think this is like the better card. That's why I took it regardless. Here's a Kiora in the graveyard. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Interesting. I feel like wasting our helping hand there didn't make a ton of sense. But obviously I don't know what their hand is, so maybe they just drew 2 other copies. Also, we have to remember that one is isolated under there. There's a picklock prankster. No. Yeah, spell pierce, I suppose. But I feel like Unholy Annex is the card you're going to want to spell pierce. So honestly, I'm down to just let it sit there and stress them out. Go to combat, not play the land first. We can kind of conceal information if we don't play land first. That means this might not necessarily be held up and ready to go. I do think my only real fear here is if I tap out for Annex, which is kind of why I wanted to know where to run this. I don't have cut down ready, but cut down also then doesn't answer the eye. That also feels bad. Into the Flood Maw for helping hand back. Sure. Just to stall my Annex? I don't know. I'm gonna relook, I guess. 3 steps, counter, counter. Okay, so they didn't have a spell pierce by any means. They could do this next turn. Helping hand is the only card I think is the scariest, so we'll just take it. If they make a 2/2 next turn, we just remove it, I suppose. Yeah, I feel like this is just this is about as big of a hold up a 3 steps ahead plan I've ever seen. Yeah, we'll just keep playing the game this way. We have a quite a long clock here, 17. That means it's a 9-turn clock, but play our land, pass our turn. Maybe there's a draw 2, discard 1 with the 3 steps. And copy ours, right? Create a token that's copy target artifact creature you control. Yeah. And there's no creature land at play, so pretty good for us. I think here I'm down to nowhere to run this 2/2. Just get my value. The 3 steps ahead isn't there, and I don't want anything kind of blocking my Deep Cavern Bats. Reanimate spells are good because I can hit a Kiora or a Picklock Prankster, of course. Another Deep Cavern Bat to open the way, but honestly, I think holding it is a bit better here. Maybe it's not. Maybe I forced the counterspell out. Like, a little part of me wants to jam this to make them counter, but then they just counter and draw. If they had 1 less mana, maybe I would do it so they couldn't draw later. They're not a board wipe deck, though, so maybe playing Deep Cavern Bat is best. This might be enough for them to fire off this 3 steps ahead. I kind of wanted to wait until I had the extra land, so if they counter Deep Cavern Bat, I could play the Unholy Annex and go that route. They hold up more mana, though. They do not do the draw, so it's definitely a pass. It most likely is another Phantom Interference, based on how they countered that spell. This is all speculation. I have no way to prove that, other than the fact that when I go to combat, they're gonna make a 2/2 this time. Hoping I'm out of a removal, but we're mono black removal deck, so we're never out of removal, you know. Artcast the Oculus. Anoint the Oculus. It's 2, right? I actually don't know. It's a negate. Okay. Maybe I should have started off with Shoot the Sheriff, but, you know, it's all good. Hopefully no top deck miracles for our opponent. That would be pretty bad. And honestly, even if it is, maybe I just make this. Maybe I just make the big one. Right? So even if they do bring back an Oculus, I have a 6/6 that can attack through it, and then I can also just unlock this room. But things can happen very quickly. Deep Cavern Bat gets removed. All eyes are elsewhere. Just our 6/6 is going to attack. No reason to risk our 1/1s at this point. Because again, a Phantom Interference comes in, blocks the one with the helping hand. We're in a bit of trouble. Now the idea is most of my removal is 2 mana, so I am just going to slam this. Or I guess maybe not. I shouldn't have, huh? Phantom Interference, me, dude. Come on now, you got it. Nice. We called him one. It sort of last turn if you think about it that way. All right, boss. Land enters. And a big old concession because they can't block our 6/6. Well, they can, and then they would, in theory, be fine. But then our Unholy Annex would trigger and deal the last 2 damage, or last 1 damage, putting them in -1. And of course, we walk away with the game at that point. So with that said, we move on. Going first again here, we do have the turn 4 infinite lethal here, so we can kind of go for it. We have some removal, which is nice. I haven't really played against a creature deck just yet. Let's take their Agatha's Soul Cauldron. I'm guessing, by the way. Ill-Time, Atali, Duress. Duress doesn't really matter. Bitter Triumph is their discard piece. 3 damage to Slasher sucks, but Chart of Course also does the same. They basically want this Atali in the graveyard. I just don't know what card is best to take. Bitter Triumph does at least cost them some value. They can Chart of Course regardless. But I think the better option is to take the Bitter Triumph, forcing them to maybe use this Abrade, even though the Abrade doesn't really matter in the long run. There's not a whole lot I can do, but Bitter Triumph can answer like a Bloodletter. We get the rest. They're interested. They're curious. But now, because of that, do I slam the Slasher or the Annex? That's a great question. I'm slamming Slasher. I feel like we have to force them to look to Abrade our Slasher, especially considering we took the Bitter Triumph. It's kind of the play we lean towards. Yeah, sweet. So tap out there, which is okay. Ill-Time Explosion can definitely happen next turn for the Atali. So I do think it's Unholy Annex first, then into Bloodletter. But an Atali coming in against our deck is pretty good. But either way, they have a way to get this in the graveyard. There's the land. All right, team. Do we gamble here? Do we put the Bloodletter in play? 1 counter. 1 card. They crack the Fable Passage, implying that they don't have a land and it'll enter tapped anyway. Actually, that's not really what that implies. Technically, if you crack the Fable Passage, you would not crack the Fable Passage because you want to thin. All right. Team. There's the Atali in the graveyard. They do find a Fable Passage. They could have a Bitter Triumph here, which would suck. Or a way to answer our Bloodletter, of course. Ill-Time Explosion's obviously happening next turn. There's a Fear. Has to discard. Because this can pop our entire board, even if we make a 6/6, if they hit something large like an Atali as well, I don't necessarily want to overcommit here. I feel like if I leave the Fear, there's a better chance that my stuff just doesn't. Like, they just don't barrel the Ill-Time. But I feel like I'm just going to wait, right? I can always cut down it here. Because the thing with Ill-Time is if they answer their own Fear missing out, then they answer their own Fear missing out. I'll take 4 damage just not to have to waste my card on it. Because it'll matter later. Yeah, and I think that's exactly what's happening. I think I'm taking 4. They're going to Ill-Time and blow up the board. So I'm just not wasting my cut down. I'm valuing this card right now at 4 life. And to discard too, right? Like, they have to do this. Because lethal's on board. Also, if I don't use this, there's a good chance, right, that if they didn't hit well, which I believe they did, their giant reanimate deck, that's most likely is hitting well. If I, for whatever reason, they didn't remove my board, I could use this cut down potentially on a Fear missing out after a combat when they think they're safe and a Slasher can make contact. Even though they have this card. The card's known, right? So, like, it should. But you never know. Opponents can be a little silly sometimes. Sure. And they leave on top with that Surveil. Feels a little dicey to your boy, but sure. 4 mana is going to cost me there. Well. Do this. Pass it up. Sure. I'm kind of pumped this card's rotating, to be honest. I played in technically an event where it is rotated, I guess, but I feel like I'm just dead here. We were just a little too slow, I think. Maybe not even, maybe slow is not even the word. I'll be fine at Tali. This could be just air, which would be sick. Or it could hit a Valgavoth and an Unholy Annex, which Valgavoth's a demon, so we just insta-lose. Alright, well, do I have an out? I don't know. Why is that an out? Or why is this an out that I have? I feel like I need to maximize damage. Here, I guess. Instantly resolves. Here. I feel like it's kind of a no-brainer block by our opponent. At least it should be, in theory. If they have removal, they have removal. I feel like I have to make them gain as little life as possible here. Now we just have to hope they don't have another one. It was weirdly a good out. Yeah, that's fine. I got nothing else. I got nothing else good. Do have quite a bit of damage, and the slasher can attack next turn, but Anoint's gone. Ill-time explosion. Did you have a thing that does it's a Valgavoth? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now the lands just aren't coming through, huh? I can attack for 3 and then it'll deal, put him to 5. Card draw mattered the most. Maybe? I don't know. Maybe card matters the most. Maybe it doesn't. Not when it's draws like these. Oh! This whole time I was like, man, if I had one more land, I could do something way cooler. Because I would have been able to bring up the Sanctuary and done it that way. Sure. Valgavoth's the card. And no gain 2 here. Okay, Mr. Deep Cavern Bat. How we doing? Do Deep Cavern Bat here. I'll take that. That's mine. Do this. And then we can attack with Unstoppable Slasher here. They let this through. Did they mess up? No, it's just short. Oh, so brutal, dude. It's just short. Oh, and they don't have enough mana to bring us back. So it's not like it comes back. Maybe they thought I wasn't gaining the life, but sure. Did they draw a dead card? Yeah? An ill-time explosion, please. Why not? I thought we had it. They make another demon for the back end, but I have 2 unstoppable slashers. Maybe I have 1 unstoppable slasher. I have, yeah, and they can hard cast it here, but it does cost them life. Which maybe they could have evaluated a bit more there. I mean, I have no idea. Do I have to attack out here? No way Deep Cavern Bat gets blocked here. Could be my land. But then I can make a big demon and then Slasher hits. Yeah, I think it's an all-out attack here. I mean, I'm not blocking Valgavoth regardless. If this comes back, I ought to lose. It's not close. Again, remember, if we do happen to draw removal, though, like, I can just answer the Valgavoth because the ward doesn't matter, which makes, like, this part really weird. Like, on these 2 draws, I guess if my land lives, I don't need to commit, right? Torch here. A push pull. I mean, that'll do it. Okay. And then we just aren't going to get there, huh? And we're just screwed. I keep saying good game, but, you know. I mean, it is what it is. Oh, thankfully we didn't play for the cut down play. They get fear of missing out. Yeah. They're gonna probably do something troll. It's just over. I'm not waiting for him to figure it out. Yeah, they get there. I felt pretty okay in that game. I feel like we could have come away with it, but unfortunately we do not. And I don't really have a ton of time to edit tonight because the Apex Con is tomorrow. I haven't really talked about it much. I haven't really uploaded much because the new set was dropping and streamers are getting new set stuff. I'm not, so it is what it is. I think once I move, I am getting a new house. Fortunately, I have someone to help sign on it, so I'm getting a new house, and then when I have that all set up, my setup should be a bit nicer, maybe. I say that like it'll be nicer, but I mean, if I can get my PC and stuff off my desk that I'm on and put it on something else, that'd be great, because then I'd have way more room. But with that said, here's the deck. This is what I'm playing. The thing is some stuff does rotate. Obviously, these are gone. Anoints are gone, but Anoint's really here right now just to answer kind of other things that are also rotating as well. And then Cut Down goes. So a lot of it does happen to fall out of this deck. I guess this does as well. But the main core stays, and it has a lot of play. So with that said, I do think I would probably do this immediately whenever we rotate in. But overall, I actually don't know if there's a lot more demons to be played. If there is, that'd be great. Anybody have recommendations? I'd obviously love to see them. Or if you've seen any deck kind of have some good success, that would also be pretty awesome to look at. With that said, I hope you all enjoyed the video anyway, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.